This is a fairly recent article from about 2.5 months ago on January 16, 2012. It's a Saudi oil refinery deal with China. And I'll display the link on it. It comes from China Daily. You're allowed to highlight this article. And I need to highlight the article actually to show exactly what I'm looking at and what it means, in my opinion, as far as the world reserve currency, the U.S. dollar. In what Riyadh, Saudi Arabia calls the largest expansion by any oil company in the world, Sinopec's deal on Saturday, this is back in January 2012, with Saudi oil giant Aramco, will allow a major oil refinery to become operational in the Red Sea port of Yanbu by 2014, within just a couple years. Now, it's always been my contention that the dollar is backed by oil, and I don't want to be too critical of silver or gold or anything like that, but I do realize. Well, let me put it this way: I want to present an alternative to the alternative opinion. I know the alternative opinion out there is the silver bloggers, the silver crowd, but I also see something going on that's I particularly don't like. I don't think people should go 100% or get too lopsided, and even could be way less than 100% into silver. I think it's a good investment. It's going to be very volatile. It's also a risk investment. I think it's going to go up. So I'm pretty lopsided on silver myself, but I want to discourage people from blindly following the charade that goes out there. I'm highlighting this article because of the importance of it as far as the West being the center of influence. It's just another step where the U.S. petrodollar is going down, because this is going to be more direct transactions between Saudi, the largest oil producer, or maybe Russia's the largest oil producer, but one of those two is, and direct transactions between Saudi and China, which is the largest oil consumer. Aramco from Saudi will hold a 5/8 share in the plant, while Sinopec from China will hold the remaining 3/8. The deal represents a strategic partnership in the refining industry between one of the main energy producers in Saudi Arabia and one of the world's most important consumers. So you know what they're bypassing: the U.S. dollar. That is my main point. I'll highlight the link on this article if you want to read it in its entirety. It's from China Daily, and display properly as it should be. This is something else. I think this is more recent. This is just from a few days ago. Today is April 1st, April Fool's Day, I believe, right? And 2012. So this is regarding the BRIC nations, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Basically all the commodity nations, more, if you want to look at it that way, primarily commodity nations and commodity consumers. They're signing a local currency pact. So in other words, they're not going to use the U.S. dollar. So they just had this meeting again, and at the summit, there were agreements signed by officials of 5 countries: Russia, Brazil, India, China, South Africa, at the 4th BRIC summit, that they would use their own currencies facilitate trade between themselves. Now, there also is another initiative set up to set up a BRICS development bank on the lines of a multilateral lending agency based upon somewhat the way the World Bank is set up. So you know what that's going to do to the U.S. dollar. So the writing is on the wall. The U.S. dollar as a reserve currency of the world is probably going to be pretty much not in the forefront by even the end of this year, 2012. Now, is that a reason to hold silver and gold, especially silver? Yeah, it is. It is. But I do not want people to get tunnel vision on that metal, because I think one of the biggest things that's going to occur is currencies are going to be based upon energy more than anything. I was kind of pointing this out before from the S&P Goldman Sachs Commodity Index, that when you're looking at a weighted average of what they consider the most important commodities in the world, and it does make sense from the standpoint that the Industrial revolution occurred because of cheap energy. You know, silver is important, but cheap energy is actually more important. The U.S. dollar, and this is something else about the intra-BRICS trade. It says it's in U.S. dollars of 230 billion. It has the potential to more than double to 500 billion in just a few years. So that would definitely destroy the U.S. dollar if this they're just trading amongst their own currencies. Yes, it is true to save any type of commodities or whatever. Like, I think not only silver but anything that's a commodity. If you had a coin that was copper, it's going to do pretty well too. But I do not want people to get 100% into silver, because I think that a lot of the silver bloggers and a lot of the different people are advocating this too much. They have a vested interest in pushing this metal. And we have seen what happened when this is a silver chart on a weekly basis, and of course we had this high back here at the very end of April. But we've seen like what happened. Max Kaiser was talking about the silver vigilantes and all this type of stuff, and playing them up and all this kind of garbage. And we know that the silver vigilante, who he is, Sprott, he sold his silver on April 28th. A couple of days before this whole thing crashed. He sold over here at this high points, and then he's into mining, so I think the mining's going to do good. But I think the argument for silver is very valid. But if you're 100% into the metal, and I am too lopsided on the metal myself, I think you're playing a very dangerous game. It's not what they're billing it as the only thing that's going to kill the vampire or whatever it is, the Federal Reserve and the evil central bankers. Because in reality, if you're looking at the world events, the Industrial Revolution was started by cheap energy. So what they're going to do is New World Reserve currency is going to be based largely upon cheap energy also, and gold. Silver, I don't think it's going to play a major role in it, but I think silver is going to go way up. So that's a good reason to hold it. So but the point is, I'm going to tell you this flat out. What I thought at the end of 2011, where did I think silver was going to be? I thought it was going to be like 40, 42. If it wasn't there, it was going to at least be near 40. In my mind, I could not see how the hell this metal could have went down to 26 again. That just didn't make any sense to me. So I already have a clouded mind, and I'm too bullish on this metal by far. So I fall into the camp of the silver bugs, So like when I'm giving some criticism of them, it's legit. I think in my mind I'm giving some legit criticism of them, and I think they have a very much a vested interest in pushing their line. And I don't particularly like when they're telling people to go, almost 100% into silver. Because, every single, I know the traders are electronic paper clowns or whatever you want to call them, but silver is an extremely volatile metal. And it's not because the banksters are manipulating the price. If you start looking around, you see all these crashes like this. Yeah, they raise margin requirements, but you know what? They do this in the commodity world on everything. They do it on cotton, cocoa, everything. And I don't care what some of these people say that they don't do it. Yeah, I think all the commodities are manipulated to a certain point. But I would not tell anybody to go 100% into silver. I think it's a smart thing to do some of it, without a doubt. Maybe 20%. I am way lopsided on this stuff, so I'm a silver bug, and I want it to go up to $1,000 an ounce too. Believe me, I do. But I don't think I don't think people are pushing this metal as your only financial savior. Is that they're playing the game, and I don't trust what they're telling people. Now, I kept saying I think this metal is going to pull back. There was one theory that it could have pulled back to a low of like 26 on April 2nd, looking at the timing between this stuff. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. There's also, possibly maybe mid-April, or April 20th, around that time, it could pull back that far. Something catastrophic would have to happen within that time. Another possibility, I still say it's going downward. I could be wrong about this, but I'm betting financially that's going to go down. It could make the other shoulder here, and this would be a reverse head and shoulders, and then it would fly up. I think this metal is getting ready to fly up fairly soon, but I don't think it's over as far as the downward trend. It's probably got a little bit more to go. Now this week, I'm not sure, probably tomorrow on Monday, they're going to come out with the new primary manufacturers data from JP Morgan's, the global data. That may weigh heavily in on this metal and commodities in general, because it's not going to be good. The preliminary data looks bad. And that would make, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. That would be the 6th week. It's already starting where it's on a bearish trend. And that's pretty much unprecedented for this metal. So I don't know if it's going to do that or not. But, let me put it this way. I personally think that it's probably got a little bit more to go down. I still think it's going to get near 30, below 30, at the least, complete this head and shoulders pattern at the least. But actually, technically, what's more likely is that it goes down at 24 or 25. Now, me being way too bullish on silver, I can't imagine this. I can't imagine it either. It doesn't make sense to me. But this didn't make sense at the end of the year either. So it could. But I'm holding a short position on double leverage, which can be held for quite some time without it eroding too fast. If this thing goes down to 30, I got a pretty good gain on it. Probably set stops around that point in time, and just take a small gain on it if it starts going back up again. Now, I'm not sure if it's even going to do that, but if it starts going up to around 35, I'm going to get out of that position, because I think that would be the wrong move. But something it's almost like you can't search the internet left and right, because whatever news that's going to come out in the future, it's not told. Even if they know about it, there's people keeping their mouths shut about it, but something does not add up correctly with this euro situation. I think there's going to be some more problems coming out, and that's what's going to drive the commodities down. And if we notice, that's what's really what drove the commodities, the silver, down during this period of time in December. It was euro problems. So it could very well be that over the next couple of weeks we could see a serious dive in the price of this metal. Now, I am not saying that silver is a bad investment, but I don't want people to get too lopsided on it. It's definitely going to go into 3 digits at some point in time. It's definitely going to be worth more than that magic $100 an ounce. And if you're looking at like where the stock market can go, maybe stock market can go to 15,000 on the Dow, and gold's going to go 1-to-1 with the Dow. It's going to go, so gold will go to 15,000. And even if silver was 20-to-1 with gold, it would be $750 an ounce. But I think that most of the middle class is going to get ripped off by these silver bloggers that are pushing this stuff as their only financial safety. And they're going to be buying it at some extreme highs, and they're going to get ripped off. So that's not my message. My message is to be a little bit more flexible with your finances, not to be afraid of everything that's on electronic market, because electronic markets represent reality. And probably one of the strongest areas that are going to be out there is the energy sector. And, for some of the reasons I was pointing out. So, as far as what's going to happen over the next 2 weeks, I think silver's going to go down. That's my call. And you know what? In my mind, that's hard for me to say, because I'm too bullish on silver.